Hi, hello, welcome back to my channel. Today is Saturday, which means it is officially week 2 of the Tour de France. If you haven't checked out week 1, I highly recommend you go and check out that video. Last week was actually a really successful week and I feel like I managed to do a lot of spinning. I managed to spin all of the Corriedale, the darker wool. Now I just have the smaller 100 grams left of the lighter. It's the same wool, just 2 different shades. When I prepped it, I noticed that there was a little bit of a difference in certain sections, so I really regrouped the darker wools and then the lighter fibers together. This morning have also started a new spin just to get a little bit of a pop of color. I've decided to split up and start my Laines Biscotte yarn. So this is America Tops. It is 100% merino. It was dyed in Montreal. This is a yarn that I picked up in Montreal, well, a wool that I picked up in Montreal. I've decided to do a fractal with this one. It has a lot of fun textures and colors. There's like this magenta, this kind of copper burnt orange, this grayish, almost blue. I love the colors. I thought that a fractal spin would be the best way to really push those colors to the max. I've also decided to do this one on my e-spinners. I really want to do the Icelandic wool. And I think I'm gonna do the wheel with that. I'm pointing to both, but they're off camera. Maybe I could have these 2 spins going at the same time on different wheels. By the way, if you're new here, I don't believe I mentioned, but hi, hello, my name is Ev, and on this channel, we like to talk about knitting, spinning, fiber-related hobbies. I am participating in my first official Tour de Fleece that I am documenting and sharing with you. If you like spinning, if you're fiber curious, or you just want to have a good time, then stick around. It is Saturday, 4 p.m. and I just finished the first bobbin. This is half the braid. For some weird reason, my hands, I don't know if the camera will show you, but they're purple. The magenta in this braid is so pigmented. My fingers are genuinely purple. Definitely this will have to be washed on its own and even knit up on its own. I'm gonna have to be very careful with this because this color is just so pigmented. But yeah, first braid done. Yeah. Last week it was a pretty muted week with the Corriedale spin and the Melly Knits spin. This week, as I search for more color, I actually decided to get into something very new, something very exciting. I'm gonna be attempting to spin this beautiful bat into a single plied yarn. I've never spun a single plied yarn in my life before. I can't believe it. I've only ever done 2 plies or 3 plies. I'm pretty confident with this one I will be able because it has a relatively long staple line. That being said, because I've never spun a single before, I kind of had to do a little bit of research, and that actually brings me into today's sponsor, Craftsy. Craftsy is an online learning community for makers to either deepen their skills in particular hobbies, or if you want to learn an entirely new hobby, they have such a wide range of classes from knitting, spinning, crochet, cooking classes, or if you're like me and you've recently got the hand sewing bug, I've actually been turning to Craftsy for some quilting classes because they do have quilting classes. For today, I actually wanted to highlight a very particular class, which is Spinning Stupendous Singles by Amy King. In this class, she teaches you how to spin a high energy twist or a low energy twist single, which is what I'm going to be doing. What really stood out to me about this class is she actually covers how to set and block your yarns, because if you've never spun a single before like me, I didn't know this, but you actually need to wash and block your yarn differently than a traditional plied yarn. You don't want the fibers to fall apart. You kind of want it to stick together a little bit. To block it and set it, you work that up a little differently. At the end of the class, she also covers different projects that you can make with your singles if you're not too sure what to do with your finished yarn. If you're curious about spinning singles, or you've never even spun yarn in your life, I highly recommend you check out Craftsy, because the first 1,000 of you who click the link in the description down below will get a full year of premium membership to Craftsy for only $1.49, valid for only new members. which is such a great deal if you're looking to level up your spinning, knitting, crocheting, or even quilting. Thank you so much to Craftsy for sponsoring today's video, and I'm gonna get back to spinning my single because I've actually started just a little bit. I just got a little 10 grams right here just to see if I could even do it before diving deep into my full-on bat. And so far, I think this is gonna work. I think this is gonna work. I don't know. I'm really excited. I'm actually super glad I'm doing Tour de Fleece because it is teaching me new ways to spin yarn, ply yarn, work up yarn, and just really get to know my wheel at the same time and become a better spinner. So if you've never spun or heard of Tour de Fleece, I want to know down in the comment section if you will be joining next year or if this is kind of making you want to learn to spin. I'm really curious. For a single plied yarn, one of the most important parts is to constantly check your ply back. Every time I'm going to be changing the hook around, I'm going to check my ply back to make sure that my single is going to be supported and it's going to be structurally sound. I kind of have a little bit of a ply back test that I did that I'm going to be aiming for throughout, and this is what it looks like. It looks like a nice, decent two-plied yarn, but still with enough bounce and looseness in the yarn. What I wouldn't want is a single, this one isn't too bad. Okay, wait, I'm gonna do that again. Cracking. My wheel's being a little temperamental. Okay, let's say this. So basically what you wouldn't want is a single like this. Single that plies back and it's just fluffy and air and has, you can't really define and tell which ply is which. It's just like a little ball of floof. That's what you don't want. Like, do you see how easily this falls apart? This, if I wash it, is just not gonna work out. This is just back to the roving. So we're gonna see if this works. Good morning. My video is more or less done. I just need to put in music here and there and just change some text. So I'm gonna try to spin at the same time. Normally I knit, but I wanna see. Yeah. So pretty. Ooh la la. Ooh la la. So it is currently 11. I've already spun my 2. This basically took me a day and 2 hours this morning to spin up. Not bad for a 4-ounce braid. Not bad. I'm gonna go grab some lunch and then I will ply and see. Exciting. Just got back from lunch and it is now ply time. Ow, I bit my tongue. So we're gonna be plying at my desk, but honestly, spinning at my desk, I don't know why I never thought about this before, but I could totally just put on YouTube or edit or do whatever I need to get done and spin. I feel so smart, yet so silly for never thinking about this before. Silly. Good morning, it's Tuesday on the second week, and there's a couple things I want to show you guys. First off, I just finished a knit yesterday and I'm waiting for it to dry, so hopefully I can wear it tomorrow. I blocked it yesterday, but it's still a little damp. It's a little wet. There is cotton in here, and cotton does take a little bit longer to dry, I've noticed. I also finally got my Loewe mug. So this is the Moomin. Super cute. I really like it. It costs way too much for shipping, but it's okay. And then yesterday I actually managed to finish my singles. I have 4 bobbins. There's 2 more over there. Well, 3.5 I would say. It's just because it's like very squishy. It's not compact on here at all, and I'm pretty sure that that's because I spun it loosely without a lot of twist, and I really wanted the yarn to get onto the bobbin and not spend so much time in my hands. So I think that's what contributed to that, but I'm gonna skein it and soak it and do the setting. Just about to try out the scariest thing in my life. This is one of the singles of my finished yarn, and right now what I'm actually going to be doing it is called fulling, and that is when you take your yarn, because do you see how much energy is in this? Since it's a single, I want to make it so that it's like a straight yarn, but at the same time make sure that it doesn't lose too much energy, that it falls apart or splits up when I knit with it. So fulling is kind of essentially felting it ever so slightly. I don't know if you've ever knit with a loopy or a single strand yarn. The wool is a little bit felting. The whole idea is you go from hot water, which I have a bucket right here, to cold, to hot, to cold, to shock the yarn. We're gonna see how that works out. I also put a little bit of wool wash soap in the hot water so then I can rinse in the cold, but I'm a little bit scared. Let's go. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna go get some gloves because this hot water is very hot. Okay. We're gonna do one skein at a time. So you're going in hot. I squish it. Squish all the water out. I'm gonna go hot, ooh, cold. Squish all the water out, back to hot. And then back to cold. Doing the one thing we're told not to do with our knits. And then I think that's it. I'm gonna do this, repeat this for all the other. So right now I'm just gonna put you there because after this we are going to thwack it. Thwack it. A little bit. Yeah, that's okay. Do you see how that is so much more relaxed? You have to have a lot of like built up anger for this. Hi, hello. So today is Wednesday. We are actually day 12 of the tour. And with that being said, yesterday I was actually able to finish one of the 3 bobbins for the Bramble Ridge Dashel colorway. I'm actually super surprised that the color changes so quickly within the braid. I'm basically just splitting the braid down the length into 3 and then gonna spin these individually to then ply them together and see what that creates. I don't think I've ever done a spin like that. Normally I play around with the colors more and mix them up a little bit more, so we'll see if what exactly this is gonna give us as a finished yarn. kind of curious. On the other side, my yarn finally dried. So this is the single plied yarn that I did from Melly Knits. This is kind of what it gave me. I have one of the skeins here kind of separated from the bunch. Now, I haven't checked the wraps per inch and I haven't checked the actual final meterage, but I assume that this might be some type of fingering, maybe even a little bit of a sport. It is a little bit thicker and chunky in some sections, but it's definitely not as thick as I thought it would be. But I am in love with the result of this yarn and I can't wait to knit up a swatch and see what exactly this like knits into, what kind of a fabric it'll knit into. Maybe I could do that before the week is out. Just do like a mini swatch. That could be really fun. There are a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 big skeins and then 1 mini tiny skein. But overall, I'm super happy with the single ply and I can't wait to spin the next one. This is making me super confident about the next super single ply. Why did I say super? I've also started on my Rolags on my main wheel for the white Corriedale fiber. So I have 4 Rolags to go left before finishing my first bobbin, and then I have 2 more bobbins to go. So hopefully I can finish this one today. Tomorrow's Thursday, do the second one, and then Friday finish the third one. Wow. So my main goal now for the end of the week is to finish the Corriedale spin and the Bramble Ridge spin. Let's go. It's Thursday already, tomorrow's Friday, and the second week is almost done. I don't know if I'm going to be able to finish this spin because this is the first bobbin. I'm just finishing it now, the last Rolag, and then I can get started on the second one. But can I do a bobbin, 2 bobbins, and ply in 2 days? Maybe not. Maybe not. We'll see. I don't want to like overdo it. There's still another week of the tour, so even if this one drags into next week, that's totally fine. I'm not like chaining myself to my wheel and going insane. I'm trying to be realistic, have realistic expectations of what I can get done, which is totally fine. But can I just tell you that the darker wool, I'm noticing a difference in the feeling. The whiter one is so much softer. It's much more like a cloud. This one is still really soft, but it's just not as soft as the white. So I don't know what part of the sheep the white wool actually comes from. It was kind of all mixed up together, the locks were, so I had to split them up. Don't know if this is particularly a different part of the sheep or if just the lighter colors are just naturally softer. I don't know. I don't know. Because the locks were all like mixed up. Hello. My wheel can be pretty quiet sometimes, and other times it's like gah, 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 gah. As I say that, it gets loudly. Friday, last day of week 2, and yesterday, by some miraculous reason, I think because these bobbins are a lot smaller than the brown ones, I split, like it's less wool to split up into 3. They should theoretically both weigh 30 grams or 33 grams, and I started on the 3rd one. It is my lunch break, so hopefully that can get done. 6 Rolags left. That's it for this, and then I could ply. So maybe I could finish that tonight. I might not be able to wash it and block it and get it to dry. Although the brown, the darker wool, didn't take that long to dry. We'll see. We'll see. Can you hear? I told you. Most of the time, my wheel is this quiet. I don't know what was going on the other day, because all the oiled pieces were oiled. It was literally just like the wood creaking and cracking kind of like an old house. Week 2 is done. We're officially in the last week. Today is Saturday, day 15 of the tour. The tour ends next Sunday, so we have a week and a day left, which means it's now time to take a look back at everything that I spun the second week of the tour. So here's all the wool that I spun so far. It is a tremendous amount. I thought that maybe I would get through this much in the 3 weeks, but let alone this took me 2 weeks. This one right here sadly didn't get finished. Currently spinning the third bobbin to ply it together and make a 3-ply. I had a feeling that I wasn't gonna finish it, but it's okay. We can still talk about it, and next time look forward to it being done. I actually really like the way that I ended the video last week, so we're going to be doing the same thing. So I'm just going to be globally listing all of the statistics of the yarn on screen, and I'm going to show you guys the skeins one by one. The first one is this beautiful merino that I was able to finish, I think either Tuesday or Wednesday. I finished this relatively early on in the week because it just took me 2 days to spin. This is a 2-ply 100% merino from Laines Biscotte. I was able to keep the tag intact, so this actually looks like a store-bought yarn now, which is kind of cool. Next week I kind of want to go over all of the yarns and what I plan to knit them with, but to get ready for that I started knitting swatches. So this is the one for the Laines Biscotte. I believe I knit this on 3.75mm needles. It'd be an hour to knit all the swatches. So this is just like a really weirdly shaped rectangular swatch, but I really like the fabric that this created. Super cute, feels amazing, and really reminds me of my Targhee swatch for the traveler cowl that I spun up at the beginning of the year. Maybe it's just the way the colors play around with each other and change, but I feel like these two yarns would work so well together in another traveler cowl or shawl. The sad truth is I don't have this one anymore. It's all knit up, but I really like the colors and the vibes of this one. I think that this Biscotte yarn was definitely a high success. Even though it bled like crazy, the colors are still super bright and pigmented. Really awesome. Then I have my single plied yarn, which was honestly a challenge of its own. This is East Frisian Lamb, Les Brises du Beau Rivage, Quebec, with 15% yak and 15% sari silk. So I ended up finishing with 4 skeins and like a mini nugget, you could call it. I've knit up a swatch. This is again a fingering weight yarn, and I think my swatch was actually pretty successful. The wool is pretty woolly. It feels sheepy. It feels a little rustic. I find the swatch super cute, and it added just the pop of color I wanted for my week. Honestly, this week was a very colorful spin week, and I'm loving it. I can't wait to see what next week will bring up. But again, the swatch was on fingering weight needles, which is, I forget. And I wish, looking back now, I had done it thicker. Because I've been spinning such thin singles recently, my default is just thin. My default is just a thin single ply. I thought that this was going to bloom a little bit more than it actually did. It really didn't grow too much when I washed it, thwacked it, and like fold it. That's the term, right? Fulling? Yes. Yeah, it didn't bloom as much as I thought it would, so I ended up with a fingering weight yarn. Here is the swatch, and I just wish I had spun a little bit thicker. I actually really like the yarn. I really like the texture of the yarn and the swatch, what it gave me. I just thought I was just aiming for something a little bit thicker, maybe a sport or a DK weight. I'm at fingering. If I was to apply this, it would probably create a DK weight that would go against the whole point of making this a single plied yarn. The yarn does feel a little bit woolly. It does feel very rustic and sheepy, so definitely not, what is this? Yeah, maybe not next to skin soft, but that's just how the wool felt from the get-go. After that, I've talked about this wool numerous times, and that is my Corriedale. This is the lighter spin. It resulted in a full skein and a mini skein. This is just 100 grams of wool. This one spun up like a dream. I think the lighter color actually spun up better than the darker wool. This one isn't washed. It's just literally right off the nitty knotty after being plied. So I do need to do that and then get the final measurements once it is dry. But nonetheless, here's the yarn. I actually really like this one. But the only issue is this is the darker wool, this is the lighter wool. There is a difference. It's not as much as I thought it would have been. I was expecting this one to be a few shades lighter. It is lighter, just not as light. Like, I don't think I could use this in a color work together because these two shades are just too similar. This one would have needed to be one shade lighter to have been able to. Right now it just looks like a different dye lot. Yeah, I don't think that these two are drastic enough, which bums me out just a little bit. I'm gonna be using both yarns, but I think I'm just gonna be doing different projects. Maybe I could now add a different color with this one. Maybe do something like this. I don't know. I just don't think that having these two colors in a knit item next to each other, it's just gonna look like a different dye lot and won't actually look like a different color. Finally, the spin that I didn't finish was actually my Brambles Ridge Dashel colorway. I did 2 bobbins and I'm currently working on the 3rd one. I really wish that I had finished this one because this would have been the beautiful neon pop of color to end my week. I mean, I'm gonna finish it today, hopefully. But yeah, this one is just so colorful, and the braid actually looked a bit more gray than this. I'm really impressed with the fact that this is so blue, pink, and green. Can't wait to see what it's gonna look like all skeined up. What I did is I basically just split the braid down the length into 3. If I spun it up all about the same speed, the color change should be gradient in the skein. But if some of them spun up a little bit faster because some pieces were a little bit thinner, then the colors might mingle a little bit. But this isn't a fractal spin. This shouldn't be a drastic color change. This is the first time I'm spinning a yarn this way. So we're gonna see what it does. But again, I really like these colors, and next week should have this one to show you guys what it looks like. That's true, I never showed you guys. This is a swatch for the Corriedale. This is the darker wool. I knit this on 4.5 millimeters, I think. So this is definitely a little bit chunkier than my other spins. It is a 3-ply. This is just the darker wool. I didn't do a swatch for the lighter one because it's kind of like the same, but this Corriedale feels so good. It still feels a little bit like this has been washed and blocked. It still feels a little bit kind of woolly lanolin-y, but not really. I don't know. I think that's just the natural oil of the wool. I know I had a really rough time with my first Corriedale spin. Do I have it? Yes. So looking back, this was the Long Way Homestead Corriedale that I had spun up, and this is the new one. This one is a 3-ply. They're pretty similar, but this one is definitely 100% softer. They both feel really nice. This actually makes me appreciate Corriedale so much more. This one definitely has a little bit more bounce and like stretch and squish in it. This one is definitely so much softer. This one almost feels like a merino how soft it is. Like, this is just next level soft. Definitely more skin texture, straight to skin soft than this one. But again, I think this is just a lighter micron, and it's just a really soft fleece for even Corriedale. This is abnormally soft. This definitely made me reconsider Corriedale as a spin, as a fiber in itself. I'm definitely going to be reaching out for it more. I'm glad I'm saying that because I do already have some in my stash from different suppliers. But this is just making me reconsider retrying wools that I'm not a fan of. Maybe giving wools a second or third chance because the difference, these are both Corriedale, the difference in these two is immense. I might even get more Shetland now because it's making me reconsider my opinions of the Shetland spin. So these are all the swatches that I've done so far for this year's Tour de Fleece. I only have 3. I'm honestly too excited when it comes time to swatching the really rainbow from Brambles Ridge. Super excited. Because next week is going to be the end of the tour, I actually thought it would be really great to do a little bit of a giveaway and hopefully maybe entice some of you guys to start spinning. If you remember last week's video, I showed you a couple of the spindles I have in my stash currently, what I'm spinning on them, and what I plan to do with them. I had alongside shown you this beautiful little drop spindle. This spindle is an amazing spindle if you've never spun yourself and you don't really know where to start off. A drop spindle is the way to go. There's so many helpful tutorial and online classes for how to spin with a drop spindle, so I'm not worried on that front that you, if you win this, won't know how to use it. If you're an avid spinner and you just want another spindle, you can also join the little giveaway. I'm going to be giving away this beautiful handcrafted Crafty Jack's boutique spindle. This is a spindle I got from Knit City here in Vancouver. It has their trademark little engraved heart, and it also has a really cool little divot here in the wood so that when you wrap your fiber around, you have a spot to place it so that it doesn't always slide around, and it is helpful. Actually, I found it really helpful. Along with the spindle, I thought it would be appropriate to give a beautiful hand-dyed braid from a local to me supplier, and that is Brambles Ridge. So this is their lovely shade The Price of Eggs, which was the colorway for Fibre West this year in March. It is untreated Rambouillet fiber, 100 grams the braid. The giveaway is open to everybody, whether you're a new spinner, you've never spun yarn in your life, or you've been spinning for many years. All I'm asking is that you are a subscriber and you fill out, there is going to be a link in the description box. All I need is your name for the prize wheel and an email so that I can personally contact you afterwards, just to be safe from spams and bots and hackers and all that shabam. It's that simple, and then the winner will be announced in next week's video as we finish the Tour de Fleece. But this kind of sums up my week 2 of my Tour de Fleece. I'm really curious to hear how your second week went if you are taking part in this challenge, or if you just joined, what are you spinning on currently as you're watching this video? Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have a lovely, beautiful day, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!